What it is, YouTube? It's your boy Nixie coming back with another bullseye of a tutorial here today on the channel. I wanted to do a dope Fruity Loops project file, a mix analysis for an album with the Shrum Life 2, you know, talking about Mike Will made it, Sway Lee and them boys, and you know how they were able to get that sound, especially Black Beatles in the city. You know that song, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, that shit. You feel me? I was studying it, so I wanted to, you know, kind of break that stuff down a little bit. All right, so if you guys do like this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Suggest more albums or whatever artists we could do a free FL Studio, you know, full template to type shit like that. Okay, so boom, the album I was listening to, I was studying is Shrim Life 2. Okay, so yeah, this is a really dope album. Some of the songs that stand out are Swang, Do Yoga, also Came a Long Way. I love that song. Real Chill with Kodak, Look Alive, and Black Beatles in this CD. You feel me? That's the main song. I know that a guy like Mike Will made it. I think nowadays he be working with Jason Joshua too. I don't know if Jason Joshua mixed that, but still I put some influence of that modern trap sound, you know, that digital trap sound specifically. All right, so the first thing with the mastering chain, I'd use a combination of 3 plugins, the Fresh Air. I love the way Black Beatles has that Asian sound. Dun, 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 dun. Like it kind of reminds me of Jackie Chan a little bit, Bruce Lee type shit, right? And this has a shimmering quality. So whenever I want to bring out a shimmering quality, I like to use a plugin like Fresh Air, you know, and it's giving me the brightness not through EQ but through saturation. And you know, sometimes you can use regular sugar in your coffee. Sometimes you can use that Splenda ass shit. You feel me? That Splenda coffee. It's gonna give you your sweetness either way, but they got 2 different types of taste. All right, another great plugin I would use is the Jason Joshua God particle. Okay, I turn off the EQ, turn off the limiter, turn off the internal, you know, limiting multiband foolishness, and just use that good old lemon pepper 1 knob saturator right here. You know, I like how that sounds. And I know with this album, Sherm Life 2, it had a very, you know, not too much analog tones in it, more very digital tones, you know, digital, you know, type of sounds. You know, it wasn't really warm at all, but it still was a really great project. You know, so not everything needs to be warm and soft and gushy and like the good old days in 1950 when I had that Cadillac rolling down the street. It don't got to be some no shit like that. You know, sometimes it could be modern and sometimes it could be old. You know, new sneakers or retro sneakers. You know what I mean? Depends on the style that you want. All right. So I use the Pro L2. I put it on modern. Boom. Okay, let's move on. Next plugin. Mike Will made it. He's a great producer. He knows how to pick 808s and shit. So I would just use a plugin like Spectre to bring density. Not necessarily trying to change the frequency balance, but maybe make something just feel thicker and hit a little bit harder. I like this plugin too because when you come over here to the Q, it creates the Pultec style, you know, type of shape a little bit, right? Where you're kind of ducking down a little bit of this low mid, and it creates the space for you to hear the upper harmonic of the kick without doing any side chaining or nothing like that. That's why Pultecs are great on kick and bass. You can maybe even duck down the upper portion of the kick to make space for a bass. It depends on what it sounds like, type shit, you know. And that's before you do any side chaining, just actually like leveling and EQing stuff like that. You know what I mean? So most importantly thing, I would just use this plugin. I would use the solid mode, which is modeling SSL style transistor type of distortion, and that is gonna help like something like a bass at 808 really cut through very well. All right, next thing that I would use too is the kick. I would use the SPL Transient Designer and an API 2500. I feel like most importantly with transient designers, sometimes you might compress on your 2 bus, and because the kick is one of the loudest elements hitting your master fader, sometimes you could actually literally change the whole groove of a mix just depending on how hard a kick is thumping and whacking into the 2 bus. So that's why I like transient designers a little bit better, because they get to let me affect the groove without maybe, you know, I can make the kick hit harder without bringing up volume necessarily, and it already has a limiter right here to kind of control the transient before I gets to that master fader type shit. So these things are very important to know. API 2500 too, maybe squeezing only just a dB, you feel me, and that dB is going to add a little bit of presence to the mid-range. A trick you could do with the API 2 is you can turn on the analog mode and put it on manual, and you can just put this on your like master fader and drive the output, and it turns it into a clipper pretty much. So if I was to take the API 2500, I put it on my master fader, I turn on analog, you know, no compression, you feel me, and just drive my output, it's never gonna go red light, it's never gonna go over digital zero, because it turns the plugin into a clipper. Really dope type shit. All right. And the next thing after that, I noticed that Mike Will made it on these two songs right here that he had with Juicy J and Lil Jon. You know, there's alternating claps and alternating like snares and little chants and stuff like that. And I think a plugin like a DBX 160 is a perfect plugin, you know, because the DBX 160 brings a presence to the high mid due to the VCA components in it. You know, the parts inside the Hellcat is the reason why it whips like that. The parts inside of the McLaren is the reason why it skirts off the lot like that. So understanding what the parts are inside of your plugins is essential for you to know how to like maximize these tools and shit. So I use a DBX 160, maybe parallel compression, but maybe not. You know, maybe I just throw it on the limiting ratio. And as you fuck around with this threshold and this limiting, the ratios and everything like that, it's program dependent. So that's going to change the attack and release for you. So maybe if you don't know how to understand attack and release, you might want to use plugins like this in the beginning because they make it easier for you, like you riding a bike with the training wheels on type shit. All right. And then for the drum bus, bro, you know, I'm throwing on that Spectre, just like JC Joshua. I seen him do this move where he does a broadband mid-range push on that Spectre using that solid mode. And in general, that just adds more weight to the drums and just to add a nice little bit of mid-range chest that is very gradual all throughout. So that's a really dope thing that I learned from Jason Joshua that, you know, I think he's mixing for Mike Will right now. I don't know if he mixed that stuff. He probably did mix it high key though. Cause I know he also mixed the song it's not the Sway Lee and French Montana. It's not enough for me. Unforgettable. He also mixed that too. So when it comes to the piano, the inspiration was Came a Long Way. You know, that was my inspiration for how I approached this. I noticed that the piano had like an arpeggiating, bubbly type of sound. So usually I'd probably try to cut out, a dip down a little bit, a low mid to get that thing to clear up a little bit, and then use something like a JJP keys plugin. And you know, it's great because you got all types of effects, a little reverb, a little something to give you some presence, a little something to give you some girth, a doubler. And you know, for me, I feel like that would really just bring over like a sample, like a sample like that over the top. So after that, using the guitar, and I'm thinking about Black Beatles guitar. Man, when that song came out, that was the song for the summer, jit. You feel me? So boom, SPL Transient designer just maybe pushing a little bit of attack and cutting back the sustain a little bit because there's a lot of like little guitar movement and riffs and stuff like that in that riff, you know. So a J37 on Black Beatles tape mode, you feel me? And I'd probably put it on 75, 7.5 IPS. I kind of like the idea of the 7.5 IPS because it's all about contrast in music. Sometimes, you know, if you take a white piece of chalk and you skirt it off on a blackboard, you know, it's very obvious those two colors, they pop out a lot because of contrast. So you using contrast as an engineer is very important to get that Ray Shermer, Mike Will made it that modern trap sound because you're showing the listener what sweet is and what sour is, and now they can appreciate both flavors equally type shit. You get me? All right, so cool. After that, you know, the music bus, I throw in another JC Joshua God particle and just, you know, mix it in very slightly. When I do mixes like that, that's what I do. I use the God particle like on my music bus and like maybe do like 12% or 13% because it makes it more fuller and thicker, harmonically dense, you know. You know, it makes it sound less skimpy. Right, then I use the SSLE channel strip. Let me turn my light back on for this shit. Ooh, I'm rhyming. I'm rhyming. You heard me rhyming, nigga. I'm rhyming. I'm rhyming, jit. All right, so SSLE channel strip. Hopefully my light don't cut off. SSLE channel strip, yeah, boom. You know, I like the SSLE because it's not like the plugin alliance version. The plugin alliance version has a good amount of salt and pepper. You can hear the saturation, but a lot of reason why pros might use the SSLE waves over the other one is because this one is actually a little bit cleaner. It doesn't actually have all the saturation the whole way. So yeah, I would just use this to start off and get that super high Sway Lee. I know Sway Lee likes to do some high voices and shit. So I would, you know, be trying to add some body to get some weight into his voice, you know. And then the basic soft compression is great for a guy like Slim Jimmy too, which is a very erratic voice. I'm a big Black Beatles in it. You feel me? Type shit like that. So, you know, pretty fast release it on a smooth compressor. That C4 pop vocal preset, soothe in case there's any little bit of harshness or, you know, anything like that. And, you know, usually a great rapper knows how to work the microphone, so there might not even be much of a harsh frequencies, you know. That kind of comes from like sloppy rapping too, you know, not knowing how to work the mic. Because back in the days, you know, there was 1950s, 1960s, there was not no de-essers that existed. You know what I mean? So use that many delay on the chorus. The first two songs, like Start a Party and Real Chill, they have these pauses where they have a really dope chorusy delay. And yeah, I think that's the way to get kind of like that modern legendary trap sound from Ray Sremmurd. So I just want to say thanks a lot for being a great part of my YouTube family. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I appreciate y'all. If y'all want to see more free FL Studio templates like this, you can grab it down below and keep supporting the channel. Appreciate y'all now. Peace.